G'day YouTube viewers, it's Peter here from WA Metro Cichlids and Shrimp Do-It-Yourself Wood Tanning, or in other words, treating wood so it's safe to use in your aquarium. So basically, what you're going to need is some tongs, a knife, a towel, access to a stove, a burner and a large pot, depending on the size of the wood that you're treating. So basically, what we've got here is some wood I've just taken out of here. You can see there's nothing in there now. It's bubbling away, boiling, and you can see that wood's really coloured to a nice, like almost, hard to see through the steam, but like a tea colour, like what tea looks like when you boil up a nice cup of tea. It's that nice browny wood colour. And so basically, why I'm doing this video is because I personally myself don't buy these nice designs of branches and wood that you can get from, you know, fish shops and pet shops, just purely because it's all in my own backyard and I know how to treat it. I realise that some people may not, because there's quite a pricey price tag that they put on these pieces of driftwood that are safe to use in your aquarium. Basically for me it's like a no-brainer. It's like save hundreds of dollars and do it myself, or spend hundreds of dollars on the same volume of driftwood that I need to cater for all my tanks. So me being, you know, pretty much common sense, I'm going to do it myself just because obviously I know how. And the reason I know how is because my dad's a carpenter, as many, probably some viewers might know previously from other videos. Yeah, my old man's a carpenter by trade, and so wood sort of, I've learned how to deal with wood and use wood and build model boats and planes, and I've been right into wood since I was pretty much a young little kid. And basically what this is called is wood tanning. This is called tanning the wood. You're boiling it, you're getting all the pigment out of the wood, all the coloration, you're killing any insects, any germs that might be in the wood that might be harmful or hazardous to the tank. And you're also making it a lot easier to debark it. Debarking is a must. For example, I'll show you here's some examples of ones that I've already done. These have been deep. You can see just little reminiscences of bark just there, like little farty pieces. That's alright, that's not a problem. I can nip them off with a knife. But the majority of the barks here, you do want to get the bark off the wood, because the water in your aquarium will slowly deteriorate the bark, and that will add little bits of shit in your water that you don't want, and maybe add a slight bit of discoloration. But mind you, most of this bark was boiled in with the sticks when it was on the sticks, so most of the pigmentation is out of that bark, but there's still a slight, obviously a percentage of colour in that bark that will come out in water. You can't get wood when it's fully decoloured to come out white, folks. It comes out a pale light grey if you go to the full extent and you use machines that they do it professionally with. In you know, wood industries, they've got big vats that do this on a commercial level. Not necessarily for aquariums, they do it for other things that they need to use wood for. But you can see this beautiful piece here I found in the bush. The ants have got to it, and it's created this lovely, you know, it just looks awesome in the tank, you know, from different angles, because this has got it's got a hollow, obviously, so when it's in the tank you can see through it, and it's got the top there. And what you could do is, if you really want to get snazzy, which is what I'll probably do, is you could even get an air stone and an air line, and weave an air line in there with a little air stone, and have that set up in your aquarium, and nice little air bubbles coming out through all the cracks and the little pieces of holes you'd have. And I'm actually going to do that, folks. Keep an eye out for that in future videos to come, because I am using this. This is for my aquarium. I'm going to actually do that. So getting back to the video. So you've got to debark it. Once you've debarked it, you need to boil your wood, depending on the size of the wood, 2 or 3 times. Big, large, you know, chunks of wood 3 or 4 times, depending. However big you want to go, it does require more boiling. Now, I've boiled this twice already. My water's still coming out rather brown. So I'm going to give this another boiling, a third boiling, all this stuff here. and then that'll be safe to use in my aquarium. And I've got plenty of other examples, folks, just over here in this lovely clear water shrimp tank. 2 bits of my wood I treated months ago. I've got other bits of wood over there in other tanks I've treated. I do all this and I don't have any problems. I don't have any of that brown tanning colour you get in the aquariums. What people will generally do is, folks that don't know quite what they're doing, is they'll go out, they'll get some wood, they'll soak it in a bucket for 4 days, and normally it'll be a cold bucket of water. Even if they start off with a hot bucket of water, it's not going to stay hot for very long. So what they'll do is they'll soak it for 4 days, go, yep, she's right, pop her in the tank. 2 bad things about that. 1, you haven't tanned the wood, the colour's going to come out in it. 2, bugs and insects are still probably likely to be alive. Now, when you're tanning the wood, you basically see all the colour in the water coming out, right? You want to make sure that the wood's fully submersed, and if the wood's too big for the pot, turn it around and put the other end in for 20 minutes while it's boiling. So just really critical that you make sure that you boil it correctly. On that note, for an example, this water is what your tank water will look like if you don't boil it and treat it properly in about 3 weeks' time. It normally takes 2 to 3 weeks for if you were to get a branch that's not been treated, put it in your tank. Like I mentioned, people will soak it for 5 days, they'll put it in their tank. 3 weeks later, it looks like that. Well, we're speeding up the process by tanning the wood. We're doing it in the space of half an hour to an hour of what would normally take 3 weeks to show up in your tank. Whereas 3 weeks down the track, 4 weeks down the track, all this wood's not going to show up any colour in my tank. And all done. You got your little knife here. Don't forget we're using sharps, sharp knives, and we're also using boiling water. If you're a young fella, make sure that you've got some supervision, parental supervision. If you're doing this at a young age, underage, 12, 13, you should be not handling, in my opinion, boiled water unless there's someone on standby, at least watching what you're doing, because if you burn yourself and no one's there to help you out, it can be big trouble. So be mindful of that. So there you go, folks. DIY on tanning your own wood. Treat it. Make sure you do it properly. Key factors: debark it. Don't get wood from a forested or bushland area where it's being treated for pesticides or it has toxic poison sign warnings saying this forest has been contaminated with some whatever. Don't get your wood from there. Pick a place where it hasn't been subjected to human pesticides and chemicals, and you'll be sweet to go. You'll have tanks happily living with all your fish and your shrimp, living on these beautiful bits of wood, and you can put Java moss hanging off them. You can do all sorts of stuff. So be mindful to do that, folks. And please subscribe. And thanks for watching.